Hey, Christ Covenant Church, it's Pastor Jason, and I am really enjoying and gleaning a lot in my own life in my study of the Gospel of John, and looking forward to continuing our series this Sunday, That You May Believe, from the Gospel of John. This week, we're in John chapter 3, which has the most famous verse in the Bible, John 3:16, but to see that John 3:16 in its context with this discussion with Nicodemus is really amazing to think about. And John 3, the story of Nicodemus coming to Jesus at night and the conversation they have, it's one of those passages that I think I know. It's one of those passages that I think I get it. But man, as I've been diving in and studying even this week, it's been a refreshing reminder that sometimes I don't think about salvation and my relationship with Christ the way John chapter 3 leads me to think about it. And so I just want to encourage you, no matter how familiar you feel with John chapter 3, give it a new and a fresh reading. And we're actually going to start the sermon on Sunday with John chapter 2. We have not yet looked at verses 23 through 25. And the reason is, I believe verses 23 through 25 is the perfect setup for the conversation between Jesus and Nicodemus. And so take a look at the passage this week. Read John 2:23 through John 3:21. And there's not going to be a lot of illustrations, and I probably won't have a story or anything like that because there's so many connections in this passage that I wanted to take it all together, but there's a lot here. There's a lot here when it comes to salvation, and certainly the doctrine of regeneration, and why understanding the doctrine of regeneration matters, why it matters for our relationship with Christ, why it matters for how we think about evangelism and church ministry and the way that we worship. We're going to see why that matters as we walk through this passage. So take a look, John 2:23 through 3:21. Read through that, and I will look forward to us walking through this passage as we worship Jesus this coming Sunday. And I can't think of anything more fitting than to take of the Lord's table together. And so let's prepare our hearts and minds for our time of worship together and for taking of the Lord's table together as we remind ourselves of God's covenant toward us in the gospel and our covenant relationship with one another as a local church as we come to the Lord's table. And so praying for you this week, pray you have a great week in the Lord and look forward to gathering with the saints to worship this Sunday.